Hi there, this is Two Legs Better. Welcome to my channel. And this week is particularly important to the football world because this is the game, the week of Thanksgiving, and Ohio State will battle the team up north. That is, I'll just say it, that's Michigan. And it has a very long and intertwined history behind this whole series. So today I want to talk about this and talk about my how my story intertwined with this story. And yeah, it's think of it as a historical context. And then of course I will also talk about the game and how I see the game and which way the game will go, because there are so many different talk. I just saw Sports Illustrated says, Michigan is the team that is particularly built to beat Ohio State this year. That's kind of an interesting statement. I may or may not agree to that. I'll try to be objective, of course, but I have to say I'm a Buckeye fan. So, but anyway, let's go back down the memory lane to recount the whole thing. It's yeah, let's see. All right, so I went to United States in 1999. And I grew up in China. I play the real football, soccer. I play football my life, and I was pretty good at it. But I never played professional. But I do appreciate athletes. And then I went to America. I still play football, but then people told me, you got to watch the Buckeye football. So I started watching. And it was complicated. The game is complicated. It's very violent, a little bit too much violent for my taste. So I was like, it's probably not the game for me. But then, and more than that is how John Cooper managed the team. There were not many good news. Back in the day, if there was any player's name pop up during the off season, Buckeye fans would just literally, okay, I wouldn't say drop dead, but would be like have a heart attack or something, because it's never good news. It's either drugs, arrests, DUI or something. It got to be something. So the team was not very well managed. So it was not a big thing for me. But then came the new coach. That's Jim Tressel. And Jim Tressel. And he's a tiny guy, short guy, and just talk pretty slow, and not like a lot of intensity or something, But he comes out and say, I promise you guys, you'll be proud of the team in the classroom. The first thing he mentioned, on the field, and particularly in certain days in some place up north. And that was like, wow. I think I can learn a thing or two about management from this guy, because I was studying management. So I started to pay attention to the team, and that team didn't do well that year. They lost 5 games, but they did manage to win the game, and at Ann Arbor, Michigan, no less. It was a terrible game. It was not a pretty game. It was just I think it was just 2 big plays, got the touchdown, and then Craig Krenzel just hold on to the ball, and so but they won. It's a hard fought game, and they won. So I was like, okay, so this coach, I like this coach, so I want to pay more attention. But I'm the kind of guy, when I pay attention to something, I put all my energy to it. Like I play badminton, I want to play like professionals. I studied for my PhD, I want to be the best. And I pay attention to football, I want to be the best. So I pay attention to a lot of things and study that. And very quickly, I grasped well, let's say what helps the most is the next, the 2002 season. In that season, if you know anything about it, the Buckeyes went 14-0 and won the national championship and knock off Miami Hurricanes, and it was a magical season. Really, I was like, Here's how I felt about that season. Of course, it was gutsy, clutchy, or lucky, and they literally call the Buckeyes Luckeyes. So, but whatever you call it, I was looking at it from the management perspective because I thought it was if I were Jim Tressel, how I would manage a team like this has a lot of potential, but football game is very tricky. You can't really guarantee anything. Even if you are the better team, you can still lose, and it happens time and time again. So I saw how he managed that. I thought, wow, this is a classic, a great management job there. He did a lot of things that should be studied and learned by younger people, by fresh people. So, but needless to say, after that, I become a diehard fan. I pay attention to the game a lot, and that, of course, bring to the game again, because the game, if you know anything about it, there's a long history. This year is the 120th meeting. So in the past 121 years, only one time the team up north, just Jim Harbaugh, dodged the game and didn't play in 2020 for whatever reason, whatever you say that is. But anyway, so and in long history, in the first like 20 years, Buckeyes lost most of them, but then they start to make it up. And in the past 100 years or 70 or half a century or 20 or whatever year you slice it, the Buckeyes have done better than the team up north. So, but there's also the academic side. This is the thing. This is what makes many Buckeye fans particularly mad, is because back in the day, even when they lose, they would bring, oh yeah, but we are better, we have better students, we have better school, and so on and so forth. So that didn't really help. That created a lot of bad blood between the fans of both schools. And but I was like, because back in China, I was studying at the Chinese Academy of Sciences, and they had big collaboration with University of Michigan. And they actually send students to my institution almost every year, and I was helping some of them. But they heard I was going to Ohio State, but they didn't say anything. Because they hinted a little bit, but I didn't pick it up. So they believe I didn't know much about it. So in my mind, I always thought of University of Michigan as a great institution. It's a very world-renowned institution. So it was great. So now I learned about the football rivalry. I understand that, and but Michigan had a lot of my respect. I thought it's a great institution, and they won. They won the game, and that's good. So I paid a lot of attention. Like I said, when I'm interested in something, I pour all my heart into that. So I follow the Buckeyes football. I follow the pregame ritual. I watch the game multiple times, every game, and I try to learn the nuances of the game. I follow recruiting. I follow the news on the team and all these things. So that's like what you do as a super fan, right? But I also follow Michigan pretty closely. Every week after I check out my Buckeyes, I usually check out the Wolverines, see how they did, and because you want to understand your enemy, and also you respect them. It's like to me, it's like a worthy opponent. It's good. It's good to know. So I had a lot of respect to that, and the 2006. The 2006, the game is called the game of the century between undefeated. Both teams went into the game undefeated, ranked number 1 and 2 in the country. And there were 2 students on that team was in my class. So, and I was super excited, for the whole history. But I have to say, in those times, we had a lot of respect. Like the players, you talk to the players, they have a lot of respect for their team. They don't like them, but they had a lot of respect. And most fans do the same. They don't like them, but they respect them. So that's kind of how a lot of those years work. But now I'm going to tell you things kind of changed for me nowadays, because this is how I feel about them now.
They're nothing to me now.
So, okay, why? It's not easy to change your feelings. Even in the past, I never really say anything bad about Michigan or anything like that. But one thing changed the most was, you can guess, the past several years when they steal the signs. I don't want to get into a debate to that. I don't want to get into a rant to that, deep into that. Let's just say it ruined my appetite. And after that, it's hard to pay attention to them. It's just nothing to me now. It's like, yeah, okay. It's still important. It's still a good game. It's just nothing to me now, And on a personal note, my best friend, one of my best friends, went to Michigan and got his PhD, and now he's in jail. That didn't help. I'm not saying they ruined him, but let's just say it didn't help, But anyway, so on many levels, now it's out of my radar. I still watch their games from time to time. If there's a highlights or somewhere in the news there, I may or may not pay attention. I may or may not watch, but I am aware of what's going on there. They're multiple $1 million quarterback, the second coming of Jesus or whatever. That's always that way there. They always have somebody, that's like the preseason Heisman or something. But I understand that, fans or even the team, sometimes they need to do that. But now I focus more on the Buckeyes and the rest of the whole American football, NCAA football landscape there. So now, so that's, to me, the past 4 games, Buckeyes have lost 4 in a row. The first, the 3 before last year didn't exist. To me, it didn't exist. I don't go back. I don't watch it. I don't even watch the highlights or anything like that. They don't exist for me. And last year, they did lose. Last year, to me, I think the game plan was bad, and then Howard got knocked out. Not knocked out, but knocked the wind out of him. He got early, kind of concussion-like. That didn't help either. So last year was really a weird game, because there was no logical reason the Buckeyes should have lost that game. But that's football, though. You get on the field. This is the thing. This is what I learned about football. A lot of people say, "Oh yeah, it's you have such a better team. You have a better coach, better players, better team, better everything." But that doesn't guarantee you to win, because in a game, you win by doing what's necessary. This is like cliche. I know that, but you think about it. Whatever game it is, I play badminton myself now. No matter how much better you are than the opponent, when you get on the court or get on the field, the starting score is 0-0, and then everybody has an equal chance to move ahead, particularly for football, And in football, let's say if you play an error-free game, and even if you're a better team, you commit a couple mistakes, it can be fatal. It can be devastating. You think about last year, missed 2 field goals. If the Buckeyes made these 2 field goals, they won. Even with that terrible game plan and all those things. But you make mistakes, you lose. That's competition, because even if the other team is inferior, you think about the Rutgers. I didn't think they could have covered the spread. The final score was 42-9. I thought it was probably like a 30 some, like a 6 or something like that. But because especially for the first half, it's kind of close. It's a 14-3, So you can't really underestimate anybody. Now, when there's a game this magnitude, like the game, well, the game itself is already important because if you live in Ohio, if you play on the team, if you lose that game, you're gonna hear about it every day, every time, everywhere, maybe multiple times a day, anywhere you go. Even if people don't say that to your face, you can see it from their face, from their eyes. It's like the elephant in the room. You just cannot avoid that. So that sometimes can put a huge pressure on people and can change people's things. I particularly remember last year's game. One of the big runs the Wolverines had was because Sonny Style didn't do his job. I don't want to drag out that play, but I think if you pay attention, you know that he was supposed to he punched a guy. The guy tried to block him. He was supposed to shed the guy and then go for the ball carrier, but his emotion took over. He pushed the guy and then tried to push the guy again, and because if he was on his task, he and Caleb Downs were both there. They can make the play, and Caleb Downs was expecting him to do his job, and he didn't. And that's a mental mistake. That's like small things like that. So whatever. I mean, last year's game, the Buckeyes, especially defense, played a great game. Anyway, so let's get back to this year. So this year, first of all, the game is still important on many magnitude. Okay, for the Buckeyes, of course, it won't affect the college football playoff race or whatever. It may affect seedings, but it does affect whether they can go to the Big Ten championship game because they haven't been there for 4 years, 5 years, 4 years. So they win, they go. They lose, they most likely won't go. I think they definitely won't go. They lose, they won't go. Because even if Indiana lose, they still go, I think. And then Oregon win, they go. If Oregon lose, Michigan would go if they beat Ohio State, of course. But so the Buckeyes, in the grand scheme of things, maybe it doesn't matter, but you don't want to lose it on many levels. You don't want people to bug you the whole year about that, and you want to win the gold pens, and you want to go to Indy. Now, so if you want to go to Indy, you got to win this game, and that can be huge pressure. Okay, and particularly like people telling you, for so many years you haven't beaten them or whatever. And for Michigan, it's everything. It's literally everything because you win. Not only you have the bragging rights, you have a chance to go to Indy to play for the championship. And then you are almost guaranteed to get into the college football playoff. Because there's no way they can keep a 9-2 Michigan team out of the playoff after you beat the number one team in the country for the whole year. It's just not going to happen. So for Michigan, they are super motivated. I would expect them to try to play perfect and try to keep their emotion contained. And they are an underdog. Underdog is good in these kind of situations. So I expect a lot of fight from them. And so that's the grand scheme. Now, to the specifics, I mean, this is the last game of the regular season. Every team has attritions. Like Ohio State, they didn't have Carnell Tate, J.J. Smith, and a couple others in the past 2 games. That is a huge concern, particularly because, well, for many reasons. But I wasn't as concerned. Now I'm not that concerned because again, you look at the team from the team building perspective. I want to remind Buckeye fans a couple games in the past. Do you remember the 2019 game, semifinal game against Clemson? When J.K. Dobbins was injured, the whole team was, was not what it was, and that's I would argue, other than the some bad calls from the refs, and that was the reason we lost the game because of the J.K. Dobbins. If we had the rushing game still there, then we would have a good chance, and that happened at least a couple more times after that year. So the depth are important, and this year, of course, the Buckeyes are playing ball control. They try to limit the snaps, and they literally play like one game less of snaps, even compared to Indiana. And compared to others, might be 1.5 to 2 games worth of snaps. So players are less torn, I suppose. But still, we have we would have injuries, and no team would be 100% come into the last game of the regular season. Now the thing is, if those players were injured in the game, that is devastating because they got all the game reps beforehand. So when you lose them, not only you lose the talent, you lose the best player, you lost the game reps. So I would rather for them to be, like the past couple of weeks, they were not there. Last week against the Rutgers, you can't recognize the offense. It's hard. You have Brandon Sain, of course. You have Max Clare, of course. But other receivers, do you know who they were? David Adolph, and not even Quincy Potter were there. So, but the team still functioned there, right? And the other encouraging sign was the running game. The running game, of course, the running backs are an important piece of that. Bo Jackson, Isaiah West, James Peoples, and C.J. Donaldson. But I would argue the more important part of the running game, well, maybe not more important, but at least the equally important part was the offensive line. So the offensive line was shuffling as well, and they performed well. And that is the encouraging sign. I think this year's edition of the game is determined by the offensive line. And I think the offensive line has the chance to hold their own. So you look at the whole team, because you still have Julian Sain. Of course, with JJ and Carnell Tate, Julian Sain is perfect. He just throw it there and they will catch it. And without these two, he needs to adjust. But in the past 3 weeks, he had a lot of chance to work with the backups, to work out the timing, to work out to be in sync with them. So that was the good thing about this. So I think it's a good thing. It's a good thing that they were injured. And then, all right, that came out wrong. It was a good thing that the injury problem appeared a few weeks before the game, and then they have a chance to work through that. Now, can they get on the field? Are they going to play? I think Zach Smith, some people in the know, I suppose, he said he was told there's a 30% chance that both of them will play. That's an interesting statement. So that literally means that about 50% chance one of them will play. So 50% chance. Make it whatever you will. So my expectation is I don't know. I tend towards none of them will play. Quincy Potter, I have no idea what the story there was, because if he's on the field, he should help. So that's that. And is that a concern? Yes. Is that a big concern, a huge concern, devastating concern? Not to me. To me, I still think Max Clare certainly is important in this case if these two don't play. And then the running backs, James Peoples would help in the passing game as well. So on offense, I still think the team is in good hands. I think I hope they don't try to be super cute and do something too cute, I suppose. Um, just do what you always do. I think I suspect we might see a little bit of Julian Saint running. You can quote me on this. I think we can see him running 2 or 3 times in crunching times and make a difference in this game. So that's something I expect to see. Now flip the script to the defensive side. This defense is great. It's great, elite, as perfect as it could be. That's just great. It's the defensive line is deep, and they are performing. So that's very good to see. It's they don't really give the quarterback too much time, so that's really a great thing. It's just it's like the safety blanket, okay. And then you have the linebackers. The linebackers, the combo, the two of them, is the best I've ever seen. I saw AJ Hawk, Bobby Carpenter, and Anthony Schlegel, but this one is just there. And I saw Ryan Shazier. Ryan Shazier was great. He was brilliant. He was like an elite, but he was like almost too good for the team's sake. It's just him, and then everybody else. But in this team, not only you have Arvell Reese, you have Sonny Styles. Actually, Sonny Styles has been more steady there, But Arvell Reese is just shooting up. Some people say he might be the #1 draft pick. That's crazy. You heard of a linebacker drafted #1, projected drafted #1? I don't think that's going to happen though, because of the nature of the game. But it's still something to think about. It's just amazing. Wow. And this is his first year to be a starter. Anywho, these linebackers, they are great. And then you have Caleb Downs. Caleb Downs is a cheat code. Is really literally a cheat code, because he's like Messi. If you know anything about football or soccer, Messi. Messi is like he doesn't have to be everywhere. He doesn't have to be, but whenever he touches the ball, he's going to create something. And actually last week in their game against the Cincinnati, all 4 goals he was integral part of that. He served 3. What's that called actually? He served 3 and he made 1. And the one he made, he got it and then passed it and then pass it back to him, and he got a header and in. And the other ones, he stole one, gave it to somebody else. Somebody gave him and he passed, score. And then somebody gave it to him, he passed, score. And he passed, score. It's just like that. Caleb Downs is like that. Caleb Downs is like, okay, just do your thing. And I'm the general. I'm not more than a general. I'm like a field general or something. I'm on the field. I'm looking. Wherever there is a problem, I'm going to fix it. So just make sure you do your job. Everybody else, just make sure you do your job. If you do your job, I'm sure there's nothing. There's no leaking in our defense. So Caleb Downs is just brilliant. I just love watching him play. So this defense has been great all year, and I have no reason to suspect that they will be different. So you look at the other side. Look at the Michigan Wolverines. Their running game is great. It's very, very good. Their offensive line played great. Their running game is great. So they do have something, but their passing game is like up and downs. When their quarterback is hot, he's good. He's accurate. His throw is on target, and it was good. But sometimes his throws can be erratic. So their offense against our defense, I'm not really worried. I think this defense can contain their running game and can confuse their quarterback enough for the passing game. So and then the Buckeyes offense should be good enough to help the team win. And then there's a special team. The special team, there's always fielding, right? The field goals. I have my confidence. If it's a 55-yarder, I'm not sure, but if it's 45, I have my confidence. I would say the confidence level 80%. So it's not like Mac Nugent, but who is, So the special teams is a little bit concerned, but it's okay. And the other one about the game, the other thing to think about is the weather, how cold is going to be, and is it going to be wind? Is it going to be snow? So these things may impact the game. So we'll see to the game time. So the game, if you consider everything, it could go many different ways, right? It could go many different ways. You can have several scenarios. There's only one scenario that the Buckeyes will lose. That's if they make a lot of mistakes and the game was close in the fourth quarter, and then they grab a chance to win. That's the only scenario they win. I think the more likely scenario would be the Buckeyes come out. I think it depends on whether the super weapons, the aliens, JJ and Carnell, would they play? If they play, I would expect a kind of a Tennessee kind of game. The game the last year, how we beat Tennessee. I think that's the kind of game we are looking for. If not, it will be more like a Texas game, but last year's Texas game, not this year's. Last year's Texas game, but even in last year's Texas game, Denzel Burke criticized the defensive calls of Jim Knowles. Okay, I don't think Matt Patricia would make those kind of mistakes. So it's it's very difficult from objective perspective, even if it's an away game, it's in the big house. It's very difficult to see how the Buckeyes could lose this game. So I'm pretty confident that they will win. And the score, I would say, it's kind of too early, right? It's only Tuesday here. It's only Tuesday. It's Monday. It's still Monday in the States. If I had to guess, had to make my prediction at this point, I would say it's 30 plus for the Buckeyes, around 10 for the Wolverines. So that's my prediction. I don't see them get over 17 points. And I don't see how they can keep the Buckeyes lower than 30. But, a game is a game. You have to play it on the field, and wacky things happened in the past. So that's my history with the game and my take on the game. And we'll see. We'll see how it goes. So again, this is 2 Legs Better. And if you have watched this far, so please subscribe and come back. And I'll provide more episodes in the future.